future clinical update of the MIRAS 100, especially the marathon RCT. The chair and panelists, with your permission, I'd like to share the marathon RCT. We've seen the MIRAS technology a while ago, and Dr. Chandra has very nicely spoken about the first two clinical trials, which bring us to this point of what is the next in step for the MIRAS Global Clinical Program. So this slide should make us, all of us, a little more confident and happy that there is a robust program which we envisage for the MIRAS technology. The first in the series happens to be the marathon RCT. This is what I'll speak in depth about. 1,875 patients, 2:1 randomized to MIRAS technology versus the contemporary drug-eluting stents in India and across global clinical sites. There's a PROMISE registry, and Professor Colombo is here. He'll speak in depth about more about his experience so far in PROMISE registry. This is eventually slotted to be a global clinical study. There is a China approval study in mind, and there is a US approval study in mind. So in all, the intention is to continue to pursue clinical research in the MIRAS technology. Coming directly to the marathon RCT, this is a prospective, open-label, multi-center, randomized, non-inferiority clinical trial in order to compare the safety and performance of the MIRAS BRS versus the contemporary drug-eluting stent platforms in patients presenting with de novo coronary artery lesions. Again, the primary objective is to evaluate safety and performance of MIRAS versus the contemporary DES. The cohort of contemporary DES is a mix of Xience, Resolute, Onyx, Synergy, Biomime, conventional drug-eluting stent platforms that are routinely available on your cath lab shelf in treatment of de novo coronary artery lesion. This study also aims to establish the non-inferiority of the next generation BRS in a select patient cohort. So this is how the study design appears. I must say this is a little bit of work in progress, and as we continue to spend more and more time to chew the study design, we will have much a sharper understanding of exactly how the final lay will be. But this is a very good study design to look at. Approximately 60 investigational centers, 60% of them from India and 40 outside of India, mostly Europe. 1,875 patients presenting with de novo coronary artery lesions, 2:1 randomized. So this becomes about 1,250 patients in MIRAS arm, 625 patients in the DES arm. The DES arm to be a mix of Xience, Resolute, Synergy, or Biomime. The primary endpoint would be target lesion failure at 1 year. The follow-up is going to be up to 5 years, and it's going to be a mix of clinical, telephonic, and a cohort of patients will also undergo imaging follow-up, and you'll see that in my slides. So QCA and OCT will be performed in a select group of population. So MIRAS versus the contemporary DES 2:1 randomization. Once we begin the study, the intention is to have a small cohort of patients who present for lead-in. So like all large studies will have, this is a new technology in one sense, and the intention is to have a little more familiarity, more on the trial protocol, as well as the method in which we deploy the MIRAS technology. So 2 patients per investigating site. So this is about 120 lead-in patients, and this will get us 2 patients per site will give us about 120 lead-in patients, and then an imaging subgroup of a total of 200 patients again. And these are going to be for the QCA and OCT. From 2:1 randomization point, we have 133 patients for MIRAS and 67 for the contemporary DES. And their follow-up is going to be sequential, 1 year. First set of 68 patients, so about 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. 45 patients in MIRAS arm, 23 in contemporary DES at 3 years. Second set of 66, and likewise in the 5th year, third set of 66 patients. So this is what the broad plan will look like. Sample size calculation has been derived with an assumed event rate of both the groups of at 7.5%, and this data is derived from well-known studies. So Bioscience, as we all remember, is Orcero versus the Xience, and we also have the the Zotarolimus versus everolimus study presented by Professor Reyes back in 2010, a non-inferiority margin of about 4% and an alpha of 5 with a dropout inclusion of 10%. The study is powered at 90%. So that brings us to a total sample size of 1875. And we realized that this kind of demonstration cannot be done or staged with any lesser number of patient population. And the intention is to have a thorough follow-up up to 5 years. So the primary clinical endpoint of the study, as I said before, is a target lesion failure at 1 year, a composite of cardiovascular death, target vessel myocardial infarction. So Dr. Hazra, you mentioned this previously, clinically driven TLR according to the ARC2 criteria. And then the secondary endpoints will be a composite of cardiovascular death, target vessel MI, and TLR, all-cause mortality, target vessel failure, revascularization, scaffold thrombosis, device and procedural success will form the second endpoint. Pardon the little mix-up view of the slide points here, but the imaging endpoints based on the QCA parameters and the OCT parameters remain fairly consistent with the other studies. So in scaffold diameter stenosis, in segment late lumen loss, binary restenosis, and the lumen area, scaffold area, neointimal hypoplasia, frequency of malapposition, scaffold edge dissection, or understanding of the intraluminal mass in form of thrombus. The eligibility criteria remain fairly consistent. Patient age more than 18 years, documented MI and eligible for PCI, and less than 70% diameter stenosis with an evidence of ischemia. Only one scaffold per vessel, an RVD of more than 2.75 and less than 4, and a lesion length of less than 34 with a maximum scaffold length of 40 or a stent length of 40, and TIMI flow 1 and above, and patient with 1 to 2 de novo target lesion. The key exclusion criteria also remain very consistent with the previously known studies. Any PCI prior to 6 months, patients with acute MI, creatinine more than 1.3, left main or ostial lesions, true bifurcations, prior revascularization, highly calcified lesions, total occlusions, TIMI 0, thrombus, scaffold overlapping, or a high bleeding risk patient will be excluded. Eventually, the study will take form of a large global study, and it'll have a list of committees, right from steering committee to publication committee. And the intention with the marathon study essentially is to establish these following facts. The first generation bioresorbable scaffolds truly paved the way, establishing a novel concept in treating occlusive CAD. It is fairly well done. The new generation thin strut BRS of the genre of MIRAS 100 have amply demonstrated that clinical safety and efficacy of less than 2% scaffold thrombosis of 0 over 3 years is fairly acceptable. We realize that this is imperative to pursue scientific as well as clinical research in order to establish the role of new generation bioresorbable scaffold in routine clinical practice. And hence, a large-scale, multi-centric, multinational prospective randomized study versus conventional drug-eluting stent like a marathon will be very pertinent. Will establish beyond any doubt the role of bioresorbable scaffolds in at least certain cohort of patient population. And a collaborative scientific effort amongst the developing group like Merrill and clinical researchers like yourself can establish newer treatment guidelines. So I thank you for your attention and await any questions. Thank you.